Hey there. So I always find myself in this predicament. You know, you have all these books, and they have a lot of valuable information in them that you want to know and you want to learn, but they're so packed with all these unnecessary details and paragraphs and sentences, and they're so superfluous, and they just don't end. They're so long. So I always find myself frustrated by this. I always just want a book that tells me what I need to know so I can move on and get on with my day. And, I found a book that satisfies this for me. And it's called The Beer Mat Entrepreneur. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about this book today. I'm going to start off with a bit of a summary of the book, a little bit what it's about, and I'll also talk about its thesis and why it exists. I'll then move on to the ugly points about the book, which I had a hard time coming up with a whole bunch of them, but there are some, and then I'll talk to you about the pristine points, okay? Awesome, so let's get started. So first I'm going to tell you about the thesis and the summary of the book. I found that the thesis of the book is really to tell you what other books about business don't. So this book is about startups and creating a business right from just a simple idea that you have, nothing's formed yet but the idea, all the way to bringing it up into this big thriving business. So that's awesome. I think that's really valuable information to know. But it does it without the lingo, and it does it without the 1,000 pages, and it does it in a way that's easy to understand. So that's why the book exists. So the book is broken down into 3 chapters or 3 sections. The first section is about the seedling enterprise. And this is really the stage where you were sitting in the pub with some friends and you're running by all these really cool ideas with each other. And then you come up with this idea that really seems to hook with your friends and really seems to stick and seem interesting. So you start to move that idea into a little bit more and see if you can find some customers or see if you can make a product. So this stage is really just about starting and getting started with your idea. The next chapter is about the sapling enterprise, and this is where your business starts to get a little bit bigger. You need to start pulling some more people in to help you get everything done that you need to get done. But the company's still small. You only have maximum of about 20 people in the business. And then the last chapter, the last section, talks about the mighty oak, and this is where the company turns into like a big corporation. It's less collaborative, less of a personal feel, and more about rules and bureaucracy. And throughout each of these steps, the book tells you, hurdles that you'll have to jump over, who you should talk to, who you shouldn't be talking to, and it's very simple and concise and tells you where you need to go. Okay? So this brings me to my next point, the ugly about the book. I had a hard time coming up with very many points for the ugly, but nonetheless, I have a couple. So the first is that I think the book could be longer, excluding the appendices, but including the intro chapters. It's somewhere between 140 and 150 pages. So because it's that short, this brings me to my second ugly point, is that I feel like it could have had some more details on how to actually do things. So the book is really good at telling you about what you need to do, but I feel like it could have supported those points a little bit more by getting into a little bit more detail about how to do that. Okay, so this brings me to the pristine points. So I'm just going to list these off for you right now. It is concise, it speaks in a lay language, it's easy to understand, and it's honest. Okay? So my first point is that it's concise. While I said in the ugly that it's a little bit short, I think at the same time this is also a benefit. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It allows you to quickly read it and quickly get the information you need to know and move on. Something that I said I like. Second is that it speaks in lay language, so there's no unnecessary confusing business jargon. It uses words that you and I and everybody else in the world would easily understand. And because it's concise and because it speaks in lay language, brings me to the third point, that it's easy to understand. You don't get overwhelmed or overburdened by the length of it, and as you're reading, it's an easy read, easy and quick read. And my last point is that it's honest, and I really like this about the book. It tells you who to talk to, who not to talk to, what's going to be difficult, hard things that you have to do, and these are the things that people wish they knew as they're going about. So this brings me to my conclusion. The book exists to tell you what other books don't, what all the big business books might not tell you, in a clear and concise way. And I think it really, really supports the thesis. So I back this book up 100%, and I would recommend it to anybody who wants to know about how to start a company and how to get a business thriving. And, you know, bringing it back to my opening statement, where I always find myself frustrated with complex and superfluous, unending long books, this book, The Beer Mat Entrepreneur, perfectly solved my problem for me. So if you're interested in startups and how to start one and you have a good idea, this is the book for you. Thank you very much.